So now let us call the function. So we're going to say how old, specify a name, and as you can see, we will need to specify something else. We separate them by the comma and specify the age. In this case, I'm specifying 35. This person is quite old. So at this point now, I've saved my program. I want to run the code. Notice what happens. You see, hello, the person's name, which was actually taken from here, and then the person's you are age years old, which is this, was actually taken from here to here to here, and finally outputted here. So it is as simple as that. Something else you can also do is come right here, create a variable, let's say a for example. Within the variable, specify someone's name. In this case, I'm specifying this person's name, and then age. In this case, I'm specifying 57. This person must be getting really old. Don't mind me. Now, at this point, what we need to do is, instead of specifying the name directly, we have helped ourselves by specifying a name into this variable. So you just take this variable and just drop it here. Now, instead of specifying the age directly, we have also helped ourselves here. So we just take the variable and drop it here directly. So I'll just save this and refresh this. Notice that this and this will change just now. Very interesting. So functions can be really flexible. They make our code much easy. Functions are really nice simply because we can specify a particular action once and simply call the function to carry it out as many times as possible. So instead of printing hello name you are 8 years old like 700 times, all you need to do is call this how old function anytime you want to make this statement. Isn't that interesting? Now, functions are very, very flexible. Now, we've only been showing you how to output something to the screen using function. What if you don't want to do that? Let's say you just want the function to do something, return the value, and then do something else with that value. Well, there's another interesting thing with functions called returning a value. Now, for us to fully understand this, would have to create another function that does something else. Now we want to create a function that actually returns a value. So what do? I'll just clean all of this up and I will create a function that actually calculates the area of a circle. Okay, so now at this point I need to collect two parameters for this function, which is going to be pi and the radius. Yes, these two values are very important. Now we want to specify some actions to be performed by the function. So within the function I could create a variable answer for example and set it to be equal to pi multiply by, I'll open a parenthesis and just say radius multiply by radius. For those of us that paid attention to mathematics in high school, this shouldn't be a problem for us. Pi r squared. So we have actually calculated the result here. Send it to this variable. So what are we going to do with this variable? We are going to say return the variable please. So we are begging the function to actually return this variable. Alright, So that's been said and done, we have created our function that actually calculates the area of a circle. But we are not outputting the result. We are returning the result. So how does this actually work? First of all, we need to send in our values for pi and radius. So how do we do this? I would like to create a constant. You still remember how to do that? Create a constant, name the constant pi, and then set it to its value. That should be 3.142 if I am correct. So we have created this constant and set it to this. Now I also like to create another variable to hold the radius. In this case, I want my radius to be 7. So that's been said and done. At this point, I can now come here and call my function. Circle. Yeah. So do not forget that this function actually requires two parameters. So we are going to put in pi, which is this constant that we created here as the first value, and the second value is going to be the radius, which is already specified here into the variable r. So that's been said and done. What we can do now is save this and come here and refresh this. Then you notice that absolutely nothing happens, and that is simply because we asked this function to return a value, not echo the value. So what we can do here actually is to say echo, save this, refresh this, and we get our value for the area of a circle with radius 7. Fair enough. Now, at this point, you might be wondering, so of what use is the return? The return adds more flexibility to a function. So this simply means I could just come here, for example, create another variable area and set it to the function area of a circle. So I can now do anything I like with this value, because currently this value will automatically be set to this variable. So for example, I could just come here and say echo area equals area, close this, and as well I could say echo area times 10 equals, I'll concatenate this with the result of area times 10, and that is all nicely set up. So if I save this and refresh this, you notice this on the screen. So for you to actually see this well, I'll just come here and do the PHP line break. I mean the HTML line break. Refresh this. So you notice from here that at this point I outputted area directly, and in this line of code I performed an action, another mathematical action on the value of the area. So that's how flexible the return value can actually help us. It helps us to get the value and use it for some other action later within the program. So this is just an introduction to functions in PHP. I hope you have learned a little something. In future tutorials, we'll be going in depth into the use of functions in PHP. But take note and take very good note of this, that functions are very powerful tools in PHP, and you have to learn to use them. So be as creative as you can with functions in PHP. In the next tutorial, we'll be talking about variable scope in PHP. See you then.